Ahoy there, shipmates, how are we? This is the next in the series of learning videos about Broadside Empires of Steel. This one is about discipline and about orders. Alright, so when a ship activates, its captain chooses whether or not it's going to keep the order it's been given or change the order. So in this example, the Warspite, who is not damaged and not under attack, is going to attempt to activate its orders. Alright, so here we go. Since she's not under attack or damaged in any way, shape or form, she just flips her order over. Easy as that. Okay, now the Warspite, however, is under attack. You can see a German ship is attempting to zero in their guns on the Warspite. Alright, so it's exactly the same if the Warspite had some flooding tokens or some damage. Alright, once you have anything, damage to your ship's hull, we'll put that there, damage to your ship's hull, ranging in markers or aiming tokens, damage cards or flooding tokens, it's all the same. Anytime you have any of these sorts of things, you have to roll your discipline level to activate your order. Alright, so the discipline of the Warspite is a 7+. So let's see if now Warspite can activate her order. And she can. So despite all of these things, the flooding tokens, the damage, it doesn't matter how many you have, whether you have just one problem or all of these problems. If you're going to activate the order you currently have, you just need to roll a 7. Okay, so what happens when I want to change orders? Well, that's pretty much the same thing. So you have your discipline, you go to it, it's a 7+ for the Warspite. You simply take the card that you already have when you activate and replace it with a different card. Right, this is the order you want for this turn rather than the order you had last turn. All right, so we're changing orders, so we're going to roll. As you can see, the Warspite is undamaged and not under attack, so she doesn't need to have any modifiers to this roll. She simply rolls her discipline stat, in this case is a 7. All right, so this time, Warspite wasn't able to change orders so quickly. All right, so for this turn, the Warspite will have to make do with no order. But next turn, the good news is that if she stays without being damaged or under attack, at the beginning of her next activation, she can just turn it over. So all that simulating in the game is that the order was given, and because Warspite is such a big ship, it took just a little bit longer than you would like for the crew to obey the orders given by the captain. All right, so that was the first part. Just to recap, when you activate your ship and you want to change the order you have, you simply take away the old order from last turn and replace it with the new order that you want for this turn. Then you roll your discipline on 2d6. You roll it or better it. If you don't roll it, then the new order stays, but you don't have to roll for it next turn unless you are being ranged in on or you have damage on that ship. Last time we visited Warspite, she was in a little bit better condition. Now, unfortunately, she's taken hull damage, she's been ranged in on, she's flooding, and she has damage tokens. Damage cards. All right, so we want to change from the gunnery to evasive action. So that's the captain's decision, is to start avoiding the fire that's incoming. All right, but before we can turn that over, we'll need to roll. So, because it's a new order, it gets modified by whatever damage that your ship is carrying at the time. So that's a +1, that's a +2, that's a +3, and that's a +4. So her discipline is 7, but she has all of these complications that are occurring. All right, so she's going to need to add 4 to that, to 11, and that is the maximum number of modifiers that you can have on your ship. So can the Warspite change to evasive action this turn? Looking for an 11? No. That's really hardly surprising, really, is it? Okay, so say for example, Warspite finishes this turn and goes to a new turn. Now she can just activate this order on the roll of a 7 rather on the roll of an 11. Now the reason for that is because she already has this order. Okay, so she doesn't need to roll for all these modifiers because she's not changing an order. She's just activating the order she already has. So at the beginning of her next activation in the following turn, she will just need to roll her standard 7. No luck this time either. So just a couple of notes, guys. You've seen me move the cards around in these various and sundry different videos. It really doesn't matter. You need to keep one of your aiming tokens on your ship at some place, next to it or above it or on it, just to show that this is the ship that is shooting. Where you keep your orders or your damage or your floating tokens, it all depends simply on how much room you have, really. There's no particular place for it. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was the damage control order. So this order is the only one in the game you do not need to roll for, and you do not need to, it's as simple as this. If you want to give your ship the damage control order, you do. It doesn't matter how much damage you've got. You can just simply change to it for no roll. I'll do that now. There you go. So I think Andrew put it best when we were discussing this, and we've gone backwards and forwards on this order a couple of times. But quite simply, you can't obey orders while the room you're standing is on fire. So eventually, even though you do have a gunnery control order, the crew are going to simply be putting fires out anyway. You are going to be bilging the area you're standing in if you can't obey your orders because you're trying to wade through a couple of liters or a couple of meters of water around you. So eventually damage control is just going to be something that everyone's doing anyway. So consequently, it doesn't matter whether you've got damage to your ship or flooding tokens or damage cards. You simply just change to the damage control order. You don't need to roll.